After this interview, I'm going to share that Anambra Chawapu, very short document.
Anambra Chawapu.
Chawapu, yes.
Wow.
And
Another slogan coming up.
Oh yeah. It's
Anambra Chawapu.
It's
I love that.
It's actually taken from Matthew 5:16.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. This is a very wonderful answers to our questions, and I believe our viewers out there are noting their points from the answers of Dr. Valentine Osibo. Thank you. All right, over to the next. How do you plan to address issues of poverty, inequality, and social injustice in Anambra?
Very important point. After this interview, I'm going to share that Anambra Chawapu, very short document.
Anambra Chawapu.
Yes.
Wow.
And
Another slogan coming up.
Oh yeah. It's
Anambra Chawapu.
I
love that.
It's actually taken from Matthew 5:16. Let your light so shine, because Anambra is the light of the nation, but that light is dim. It's not shining. We need that light to shine. It's not just going to shine for the Anambra. It's also meant to shine for the rest of the Igbos.
Exactly.
Now, how do you get that light to shine? We want that light to shine so that people will just see our good deeds and say, thank God Almighty.
Thank God Almighty.
For who we are.
Exactly.
That's what is inspiring.
Just like, sorry sir, just like Ndibo we say, Madaga no tutochuku.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Now, that document, captured a lot of things, including inclusivity. How do we make sure we build an inclusive society? So you're not just about, particularly those who are one way or another disadvantaged, the physically challenged, the persons with disabilities. How do we make them comfortable? How do we create an equal opportunity? And then to solve the poverty issue, what I tell people is sometimes we don't even understand, we don't do proper root cause analysis. Because before you solve any problem, you've got to dig. Where is this problem coming from? And at the core of it all is actually leadership failure. Who, for instance, can help us with unemployment? How do we curb that problem of unemployment? Government can hardly employ more than 20% of the needs. If they actually do up to 10%, we thank God. It's actually the private sector. But then, private sector, how would they do that? They need government. What is government supposed to do? Create an environment that is safe and competitive. Okay. First thing that must happen is that the environment is safe, because nobody goes to a war-torn area. Exactly. If I tell you to go to Gaza Strip now to go and invest, you're going to say to me, you're out of your mind. Anambra is almost like a Gaza Strip today. So, cop that first. And when you do that, question is this: what else do the businesses need? Competitive environment. How do we build the right infrastructure? Why can't we even over time develop those solid infrastructure that can be a game changer? There are 2-3 major ones. In fact, let me mention 3 major ones. In fact, let me add 4. Number 1 is actually the issue of road infrastructure. Number 2 is the rail infrastructure. Number 3 is the port infrastructure. And number 4 is tech infrastructure. If you develop these 4 things here, come and see the energy, creativity, ingenuity of Anambra unleashed. And when you do that, employment we will no longer be praying for job. It is in this world that job is a miracle. Some places, you see that they have 5% unemployment. But here we have 70% unemployment. That's ridiculous. And who can lead that change is when you find emotionally intelligent leaders who truly care for people, who are hungry for change, who know what to do, who are inspired by the legacy they want to build. I am one of those people who, after you mention those names like Namda, Zikiwe, Michael Okpara, and all of those big names, I want my name registered there. And that's why I'm in governance.
Very well, very well. Thank you, sir. Okay, now I will touch this area before we can now talk about other things, other trivial issues regarding to the Igbo nation. Here, I want to know what role do you see the traditional institutions and community leaders playing in your administration? Your administration's efforts to promote Igbo identity and culture, using a kingdom like the ancient Idueri kingdom, which has in all their activities shown their willingness to unite the Igbo nation, both in and abroad, because we have seen the king Ezechukwu traveling from here to the United States, from here to the Caribbean, uniting Igbo, bringing Igbo together, and where we are also partnering with the kingdom in a program that we called Anambra Chawapu, just like you have the Anambra Chawapu mantra. We have Anambra Chawapu, which we are partnering with the kingdom to bring home Igbo in Caribbean, those Igbos that were transported here during this transatlantic slave trade. How do we show them home? If they are coming home, what are they going to see? What are they expecting? Thank you.
You know, I'm happy that we're having this conversation.
Thank you, sir.
I went to the Bahamas recently.
Okay. And
it was a meeting organized by the Africa Export-Import Bank, Afrexim. And they termed it Global Africa.
Global Africa.
And it's similar to just saying Global Igbos. And do you know the meaning of Global Africa? It's Africans and the Caribbeans combined. And the idea here was to, again, know who we are. Because what we are going through is what they are going through in the Caribbeans. And these are our women, as in the Africa, as in the Caribbeans. What do we do? But, you know, they brought everybody. Former leaders, Obasanjo and Patterson of Jamaica, they were there. They brought musical legends. In fact, there was one of the videos that went viral where Wyclef mentioned my name on stage and said, that mentioned Governor Anambra, so everybody captured it. It's on my Instagram post.
Okay.
They brought the entertainment, Nollywood, and all of those people discussing global Africa, our identity, our culture. But I said to them, amidst all of this, there's a missing part. Until we actually fix our home and govern it well, you can only export. You can only export what you have, what you know best, and what you're doing competitively. The whole essence of that mission was what they call Intra-Africa Trade Fair. We want our countries to be exporting and trading among ourselves. That's noble, that's laudable. But how do you trade among yourself? If I decide to produce this phone, that phone, or this phone, or even this mic I'm holding now, and for me to produce this mic, I have to dig my borehole. I have to get my electricity uncompetitively. I have to pay for the insecurity, and because to move around even in certain places now, by the time you have done all that, and the cost of producing this mic is now 10,000 naira, and there's somebody in China, in Indonesia, who can produce this as 5,000 and use 2,000 to transport it, and it's at 7,000. That whole industry is dead. I can no longer trade because nobody's going to buy from me
Exactly.
because I am uncompetitive. Now, how do you solve this problem? For this now to be competitive, oh, politics, governance, we need to fix power so that it's cheaper now long term. We need to be able to provide a water system. You have to solve each of those cost dependencies. You can see the root cause where it's starting from. It's only when we have done this that I can now export this. I can now even think of selling it to China. Because see, we're in a competitive world. If you don't behave and do well, people eat your lunch. And that's what's going on. If you bring this to the issue of culture and Alibo, you will make the parallels. You understand the point I'm making here. Guidance good at neighbor. Ofuma. So that when I go looking for my brothers, they will gladly follow me. Rather than nobody's going to follow you. I love the mantra. But let's get it done first. Let's make this home. What I tell people, like someone will call me and say, oh, foreign direct investment. What are you talking about? Have you ever seen a foreigner go into a country where they're local? If the local business people are running away, if people in Onitsha are running to Asaba and beyond, why do you expect that people, our own Igbos from America will come home? How much more those who are not even Igbos? The starting point is getting it right. And you know the reason I'm saying this, you know what I was spoken about today? I want Anambra people, Ndi Igbo, to understand the importance of 2025 election. It's not an election of, oh, let's see how we can help values. But no, come and help yourself, because you are not going to succeed in all the things you're doing until we solve the fundamental problem. It's through governance that any society has ever evolved. And it's also usually when it's done well and done right. When, you know, I was just following the mass today, and it's about the call. When God really wants to help a nation, He will make sure a good leader is given to that nation. And that's why Proverbs 29:2. It's only when good people, godly people, emotionally intelligent people are in power that the people will rejoice.
Exactly.
Because when people are suffering and mourning, it means that wicked people are in power. Guess what? Wicked people are in power because we haven't realized first what to do and how to do it. And who is to do this? Is the youths. That's where the energy, creativity, and it's their future that we're destroying. So, you know, I love to go get all my brothers from all over the place to come home, but there must be a home to come to. And that's not going to be home until we get the right people in power.
Excellent. Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Let's move over to the most trivial question. In Alibo today, it's as if politics has changed hands. The youths are becoming more aware, and they want an outright involvement. I'll tell you this because I'm in the streets. I don't know how far you are or how closer you are with the voices in the streets. This question is taking us to the Ohaneze Ndibo social-cultural group. Recently, the internet, the social spaces was thrown into some confusing statements, but in all, it was the necessary thing, because a lot of people, especially the youths, now became aware that they can be involved in the politics of Ohaneze. It's no longer for the old. They began to feel involved. That saw the emergence or the candidacy of two Ikwere candidates, the Ikwere extractions, and one is a confirmed president today. Now, Ikwere is in the politics of Ohaneze. As a governor, do you still feel that this is the affair of the governors, or would you support the Ohaneze Ndibo to have its own autonomy outside the funding of the Eastern governors? Do you feel the people the Ohanese should be self-funding so that they can really get involved in the everyday lives of the people. Because you are the governor, you are aspiring to be the governor of Anambra State under the from the platform of Labour.
We'll come to this
Okay.
platform.
Okay.
Yes.
Then other governors are coming from different kind of
Yes.
political parties.
Now, okay.
I mean, it is not like a united political party for Ndibo, but the Ohanese Ndibo is for Ndibo. What would you do differently for that apex organization?
Thank you so much. I love the fact that you are at the forefront of making sure the younger generation, pays close attention to leadership gap that we are facing in this country. Issues around Ohanese, I'm going to touch on it. Now, I will also touch on the issues around even that political office of the governor, not just in Anambra, the rest of the Southeast. Two things. Number one is that the name is Ohaneze. So it's Oha. It's the masses. It's the people that must determine their future. And the whole essence of this is the idea that some people, no matter how powerful, would like to do their own personal bidding. We must stop that practice. The real meaning of democracy is actually power to the people. Now, even the governors are servants of the people. The real power is to the people. We, as masses, elect these leaders, and we're not subservient to them. We are actually their master because we elected them.
Exactly.
It's only when we fail to realize what is latent within us, understand what we need to do to come together and create what we call a force for good, particularly among the younger ones. If we show right methodology, right purpose, and get unified, every governor will sit up in this country, particularly Labour, so that what they do will now begin to align with what the masses want. But I sense sometimes docility among our citizens, where anything goes. There comes a time when people will get to that consciousness of saying, you know what, enough is enough. You may be happy where the youth are. I'm not impressed. We need to get to where certain atrocities will not be allowed to continue, irrespective of who undertakes it. It is only when the youths can come together and not use their force to destroy, but their force for good. That is when our society will sit up. And I'm challenging them. 2025 election is that time to test whether they understand what they're supposed to do or not. So when people say to me, how are you sure this election will not be rigged? I say, because you let it be rigged. If you say it's not going to be rigged, it's not going to be rigged. If I'm in my community and the youths are there and they decide that they want the right thing to be done, guess what? The right thing will be done. But if you get confused and some of you get, some little change and you misbehave, tomorrow you look for who to blame or some government. No. Blame yourself. Hold yourself to account. The youths must wake up. We must wake up. It's your future. It's their future. The other ones have how many more years to go? You have longer years to go. Until you realize this. Until you realize it. We've made certain attempts in the past, but those attempts were not followed through. We need to now follow through and stop on nothing until the right things are done. We must create an environment where every action has a reaction that's proportionate, where every bad deed must face with consequences. People can't get away with murder anymore in this society. We need a law and order society. We need our youth to enforce this. We need them to wake up. And when you then bring this to formation and the apex organization we have, Ohaneze, everybody will sit up. Let these things happening today, in this year, 2025, be the real game changer. I said this to you because it's actually not an ordinary year. 2025 is a jubilee year. It's a unique year. Even in my Christendom, in Catholicism, it's 1925 that Pope Pius XI instituted what we call Christ the King. This is the 100th year. And whenever there's a jubilee year, something magnificent happens in the spiritual realm. This is the year. No wonder some have said even Trump was inaugurated as president of America. There's a lot aligning. Some may not be happy because their visa process may be elongated, but there are a lot aligning at the spiritual world. I think that this is a year to behold. And I'm happy that Anambra election in 2025. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, this is the wrap up. This one question that I'll ask because it is becoming more popular in the social space, and that is the issue of the Anyoma state creation.
Yeah.
This affects the Igbo identity politics because if Anyoma state succeeds, it means the sixth southeastern state. What is your opinion about this?
Not if it succeeds, it must succeed.
You are in support.
100%.
Tell us how that will help improve the southeastern economy and politics, and also the Igbo identity at large.
The truth of the matter is that I'm shocked it has taken us this long to even get to this point. It shouldn't, it's a no-brainer. It's actually a no-brainer. How can some zones even have up to 7 states and we're 5? It doesn't make sense. And there's no better place to actually have it today than the Delta combined with Anambra and create a state. The one that some people have championed around Olom, no, that can come later on. But for now, where is most needed? And what you actually find, the people are already aligning themselves. The cultures are the same, and we are all Igbos. And the truth of the matter is that the better, the more we have, have the 6th state, the better identity it's going to give. And I can tell you that Southeast, number one, will feel belong. They will feel that finally, and that's the best thing, that one of the best things that President Tinubu can go home with as legacy. If we get the 6th state, if we restructure this country, Nigeria, if we develop a port system so that we can actually now do our trading closer home, if we're able to actually allow some autonomy among the regions and leave us, create an enabling environment, a free, equitable environment, Igbos will thrive. In fact, agitation will reduce marginally, maximally. And this is one of the things I believe that can help us create a Nigeria that we can all be proud of.
One final question, yeah. And we will be needing a sincere answer to this question, and that is still on the Anyoma. We have Umweze Chima. What if the Onichas agitates to join the Anyoma states? Will Anambra permit such?
Let me tell you this. I like people to self-determine their future. If Onitsha says, so be it. But not this. Not this. I don't want us to even see the division among the Southeasterners. We are one block. Doesn't matter if a town, a city is in one zone. Let's create that environment. If I'll be happier to go to Aba, to go to Owerri, to go to Abakaliki and live and trade. And by the time actually we create this better environment, state of origin will disappear. State of residence will emanate. And all of these things you think is a problem will disappear. Trust me, it's just a matter of time. Before now, when I don't go into controversial issues about women and land, because if you also get it there, you find out a woman can actually go to Lagos and buy 10 hectares of land. But when she gets to this village, by the time his village then becomes town and becomes urban, that's when women can actually now buy. You can see over time things evolve, and we must welcome evolution. I like to challenge status quo at any time. It is through throwing of kites that we have a Boss 380 flying on air. If you keep staying at throwing on kites, we'll be using donkeys to walk today.
Exactly.
We need to evolve as a people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Valentine Ozigbo. It has been a pleasure having you on this platform. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Hello, my viewers. I still remain your own faithfully Chukwemeka, the Unify Igbos Now proponent, the convener of the Unify Igbos Now movement, Ojembe Nwero, nke Igbo niile, Anyanwụ Idueri. We shall be having more of Dr. Valentine Ozigbo as he charts a new course towards the Igbo unity and also for the economic benefits of Ndi Igbo, not just Anambra State. When you listen to our conversation, you will realize that we are not just particular about the Anambra politics. We are about Igbos. From what he said in the last phase of this interview, I think you are an advocate of the obliteration of state of origin and enthroning state of residence. I think that is a very good one.
Yeah.
I am from Imo State. I think I can play actively here and progress in Anambra without being faced with the stigma of because it has really eaten deep in us. And I believe that your emergence, by the grace of God, will see a new dimension in the Igbo identity politics. Thank you, sir.
God bless
Thank
you.
you.
God bless
Thank
you.
you.
Cheers, man. Thank you.
Yeah.